Welcome to my Wings of Liberty ladder games, where compared to all of the one-base garbage, cheesers, and tryhards, we're hardly trying. That is because I like to play a more macro-centric style, which revolves around expanding, getting large armies, and just generally playing with more units. Now the reason I like doing that is because that puts more focus on the managing your economy, your production, and general strategies, as opposed to micromanagement and horseshit off of one base. Because basically if you're doing one base horseshit, then you have a lot less units, which means that each unit must be valued more, and it just gets annoying. This guy looks like he's just chatting and planning to do some kind of cheese, and he's just trying to distract me. And he's playing Protoss, which is actually a pretty cheesy race, considering how in the early game, Protoss has a lot of cheeses available for them. For example, the double proxy warp gate, or the double proxy gateway, the cannon rush, and even a large probe rush off of someone who's in Diamond League can take down someone in Bronze League quite easily, because the probe's shield mechanics allow them to, hone a lot of SCVs. So against a Protoss opponent, I would say Terran is kind of unfavored for me, because the Terran versus Protoss style relies heavily on drop play to keep the Protoss behind while getting ahead yourself. Because in a direct engagement, if Protoss have Colossus, then Terran will likely lose in the early game, without a large amount of Vikings out. If Protoss has a lot of Zealots and Sentry, then Terran also has a hard time holding that off. So just Terran is bad against Protoss early on. At around 10 minutes, Terran usually gains the momentum because they'll have drop play available, and around 15 minutes is when Protoss have the momentum again, due to the fact that they have a lot of their tech available. Now, it seems like he is going for Gateway first, so this is not a cheesy player, which is great. I like to keep an eye on his chrono energy and his tech choice after this, because if he's making a bob, then that gives him a lot of options to put on pressure. So it seems like double gas right away, which means some kind of tech play is expected from him. He still haven't put down a bob yet, or a chrono core, or a cybernetics core for that matters. So I don't really know what this is doing. Cybernetics core seems like it's down right now, which is great. Seems like double gas play meaning tech, so a lot of I think I can safely expand at this point. He is still not making a bob, so he won't have to be putting on that much pressure. But I still don't feel safe without a bunker, so I will go ahead and get that right now. But I feel like getting the depot first, because that allows me to produce units a little bit more.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, so against tech builds, I would say probably the best bet is getting Marauders early, especially if he's doing some kind of one-base tech build. Now the reason I say that is because one-base tech builds it involves either Blink, Dark Templars, or just Immortals. So Marauders are good against all of those in terms of dealing out damage. If they're in bunkers, then Immortals can't really wreck them either. So I'm gonna send out a little scout right now and see whether or not he has that expansion taken. If he doesn't, then that's my cue to put down 3 more bunkers, because I know some kind of one-base play is coming. Now it's very difficult for Terran players to take control of watchtowers at this point, because the Stalkers actually run a lot faster than your Marines, so they will be able to take that down without too much difficulty. Now this player is actually unranked, which makes me think that he's not that great. So I'm gonna get the double gas right now. Probably put the SCV here to keep an eye on the expansion. Let's actually drop 1 scan. You see robotics facility and also 2 warp gates. So this is some kind of robo build. Probe count actually looks good, so probably some kind of one base all in off of robotics tech. So a good thing to do right now would be to start making the Immortals, or making the Marauders, and basically units.
Insufficient. Upgrade complete.
So I'm still keeping an eye on his expansion right now, and it seems like he's not taking it. Robotech means he won't have that much gas for the Twilight Council, which means Blink is unlikely. This is really highly likely to be an Immortal push off of 2 base, or off of 1 base, and if I can hold that off, it'll be great. Another possible thing that he could be doing is Warp Prism play, which is actually very effective against Terran. Now the reason I say that is because Warp Prism and just any units in your main is very hard for Terrans to deal with. And the reason I say that is because they won't have a lot of their tech available when they try and do that. So their stim won't be ready for sure. And concussive shells probably won't be done. And that means Protoss units with their shield mechanics will be able to take down a lot of Terran units before Terran can actually get rid of it. And that's basically one of the reasons why dealing with one-base stuff is very, very irritating. Because you gotta pull your probes, you gotta bring your army together, and all the Protoss have to do is warp in some units. It's just not a very nice situation to be in as a Protoss player, or I mean as a Terran player. Protoss player, it's a little bit more irritating, but not as much as a Terran player would feel. So he sees that I have 3 bunkers up, which at this point I would consider not a waste of resource because his expansion is actually exceptionally late. So let's start this upgrade for Stimpack. It's actually a little bit later for me as well. I'll get a second gas geyser because we want to be able to make medevacs. Seems like the front is pretty well fortified. Also with the vision, I can detect any main army pushing out. So right now I should protect my flank over here from any drops, because he does have that robotics facility which opens up the opportunity for him to drop. Okay, so I'm still going to work on my own drop tech so that I can drop at around the 10-minute mark, although the delayed Stimpack could actually impact that quite a lot. Got to make sure that I'm not supply blocked, so keep the depot coming. And number all my buildings as well so that I can easily produce units without having to look at my base. So actually this is a huge buildup of resources, so I'm going to go ahead and get the engineering bay right now. And with the additional resource, maybe add on 2 more barracks. I feel like I should be working towards 6 barracks in terms of production, but I just can't afford that right now. Just add on the 6th one right now so that I can add on 2 medevacs. Make some marauders. So do that, and also put on the upgrade. Terran really shines when all of their tech is done, and that, by that I mean Stimpack, combat shields, marauders slow, stuff like that. Whereas Protoss need to extend their thermal lance, and High Templars with storm, stuff like that. So it's very different for Terran and Protoss players. I'll grab this, and this should fill up 2 medevacs nicely. We'll put down some more depots, and also we want the armory. Now at this point I would say it's a good idea to drop and also to add on another starport, because he does have the robotics tech on his way, which means transitioning to Colossus is definitely not a hard thing for him to do. And we need Vikings to deal with that, and we also need to continue medevac production, so not really a bad idea to add on a second robo. Also expanding is a good idea at all situations, unless of course there's a bunch of units barreling down your front door. At which point expanding, probably not the best idea. Okay, so let's try this drop. It's probably better to split up the drops, but I feel like at this point I just don't have enough units to cause enough pain. And also this map... Oh, the Colossus Bay. Yeah, he's going for Colossus. So if I can take out the Colossus Bay, then this will be a huge victory for me. Oh, there goes the Colossus, and I feel... Oh, double robo! Oh, let's get out of here. Not a fun place to be. He's got 2 Colossus.
Add-on complete.
Okay, so at this point, I think I'm ahead because I managed to get rid of his Colossus base, so there won't be any more Colossus for a while. And I feel like, yes, we did finish the armory, so we can continue with our +2. So right now would be a good time for us to put on some kind of pressure once this attack is done. So let's go ahead and gather our army right now. Okay, just finish up that real quick. I'll wait for another round of Vikings, but I guess we don't have enough minerals for that, or enough gas.
Insufficient Vespene.
So I guess we'll have to do this without gas. I think the use of walk is actually pretty effective against Colossus at this point.
Waiting on you. Flight. Ready.
Although I don't really want to play with the Colossus right now. Playing with Colossus is always dangerous. I'm gonna salvage 1 bunker because I can. Okay, I feel a little bit more cocky, so I can actually do that. 3rd orbital, not exactly the world's worst choice I can make. if anything, that's going to make him... He can use walk. And now this army should be easy picking. They managed to use walk on the Colossus, which means that Colossus no longer exists, and Terran Vile is exceptionally good at handling Protoss ground armies, especially gateway composition, and you can see how effective that was.